Anthony, mate. You've been here a few times, obviously, as GP, but this is your first time as a senior.
Yeah.
Just tell us about that call-up.
Just an incredible feeling. You know, a lot of hard work going into the season, and yeah, just to be rewarded with a childhood dream was amazing.
And what are you most excited for, mate?
Just being here, just experience everything. Obviously, like you said, I've been here so many times with the youth teams, but coming here as a senior is very different. So just can't wait for that.
Awesome, mate. Have a great week, eh?
Thank you.
From Newcastle United announcing an exciting multi-year deal following $65 million agreement, to the hottest Newcastle United transfer news, to Yankuba Minteh receiving huge award.
Wow! Beautiful!
The shocking Steve Bruce statement.
But I think I was the victim of the whole club at the time were desperate for the takeover. And, you know, we're talking about financial fair play and all the rest of it. You know, a club would never be in any distress under Mike Ashley.
Join us as we break it all down.
Let's go!
Starting off, according to Sky Sports news reporter Keith Downie, Sven Botman could be missing until the end of 2024 after Newcastle United announced he suffered another ACL injury. Interviewed him on January 1st after he thought he'd recovered with rest from tearing it the first time, against Brentford in September. He's not looked the same player since. Would appear the decision not to undergo the operation back then hasn't gone to plan. It's challenging to assign fault to any individual at Newcastle without having a comprehensive understanding of the entire situation. The medical staff will assess the situation, and Eddie Howe will act accordingly, taking their guidance into consideration. The players' wishes also hold significance, as do the opinions of external parties. However, in the end, the gamble that was taken has not yielded the desired results. It seems Newcastle United this season are injury united. Then moving on, Forest's potential need to sell one of their star assets by June to avoid further points deduction next season could provide a significant boost to Newcastle United in their pursuit of midfielder Morgan Gibbs-White. In the January transfer window, Newcastle had expressed interest in the 24-year-old, but were constrained by their own financial fair play or profit and sustainability regulations restrictions. Nottingham Forest recently received a 4-point deduction from the Premier League, which has placed them in the relegation zone. This penalty was imposed after Forest admitted to incurring losses of £105 million over a 3-year period. In response, the club released a strongly worded statement criticizing the current financial model, claiming that it hampers the advancement of clubs outside the elite group at the top end of the Premier League. According to the Times, Forest must sell one of their star players before June 30th, which marks the beginning of a fresh accounting year for profit and sustainability regulations restrictions in order to avoid further punishment. Even if Forest were to be relegated, they would still be required to adhere to the regulations for the subsequent year. Players like Morgan Gibbs-White and Anthony Elanga could potentially be made available on the transfer market to alleviate the club's financial situation. This circumstance would undoubtedly attract the attention of Newcastle, who were previously quoted around £60 million for Gibbs-White. To comply with profit and sustainability regulation restrictions, Forest management may be compelled to lower their asking price for Gibbs-White. The midfielder joined Nottingham Forest for £35 million nearly 2 years ago as part of the club's significant spending following their promotion to the Premier League. Furthermore, according to the Mail, Newcastle United is also closely monitoring Nottingham Forest centre-back Murillo ahead of the summer transfer window. Chief reporter Sami Mokbel suggests that Newcastle, along with Liverpool, Arsenal and Chelsea, are keeping an eye on the Brazilian defender's progress. Despite Nottingham Forest's challenging season that has seen them fall into the relegation zone following a 4-point deduction for breaching financial rules, Murillo has received positive reviews since his £15 million move from Corinthians last summer. Having watched Forest play this season, Murillo has impressed with his pace, power and composure on the ball. Newcastle's current defensive line is perceived to lack athleticism and speed, and Murillo's qualities would potentially address those deficiencies. As a left-footed centre-back, it raises the question of whether Newcastle sees Murillo as a similar profile to Lloyd Kelly, the Bournemouth defender who has been considered as a potential upgrade on Dan Burn. The left-footedness of both players may suggest that they are seen as viable options to strengthen the team's defensive capabilities. Moving on, Newcastle United's strategy has involved recruiting young talents as part of their long-term success plan. They have already made notable signings in positions such as full-back, with players like Valentino Livramento and Lewis Hall, as well as midfielders Anthony Gordon and Sandro Tonali, who are both 23 years old and demonstrate the club's focus on building for the future. The club has also secured the services of promising wingers Yankuba Minteh and Garankuol, who are currently on loan in the Netherlands and are expected to have a future at Newcastle. Now they are aiming to replicate that success by targeting a new center forward. According to transfer correspondent Pete O'Rourke, while specific names have not been identified for a move to St. James Park in the upcoming summer transfer window, there is a clear plan to strengthen the attacking department. Newcastle is looking to sign a young center forward with high potential, who can initially provide cover for Alexander Isak and eventually compete with him for the starting position. The level of talent of any incoming forward would depend on the club's summer budget. Currently, manager Eddie Howe has the option of utilizing Alexander Isak and Callum Wilson as center forwards. However, Wilson's form has declined in recent seasons and he has been increasingly prone to injuries. As a result, there is a possibility that Wilson may leave the club in the summer, especially considering that he was made available for sale in the January transfer window without success. Isak, on the other hand, has reportedly attracted interest from Arsenal, who previously attempted to sign him during his time at Real Sociedad, but no concrete offers have been made. Ideally, Newcastle would like to bring in a new striker who can directly replace Wilson, allowing them to revitalize their front line with a younger and more reliable option, while also adhering to the financial fair play (FFP) regulations. The club is now actively searching for the right striker to fulfill this role. Then moving on, Newcastle United is reportedly open to selling midfielder Miguel Almiron during the upcoming summer transfer window if the right offer comes in. The club's chief executive Darren Eales has acknowledged that head coach Eddie Howe may be compelled to offload key players due to the club's financial situation and the risk of breaching the Premier League's profit and sustainability rules. This has attracted attention from rival clubs who are monitoring the situation closely. Furthermore, Newcastle's chances of qualifying for European competitions are slim, despite their recent participation in the Champions League. Failing to secure European qualification would result in a lack of additional funds for the club. During the winter transfer window, Saudi Pro League side Al-Shabaab showed interest in signing Almiron but failed to secure a deal. Newcastle was willing to let the player go if the £30 million price tag was met, but negotiations ultimately fell through. While Almiron's decision to stay at St. James's Park pleased manager Eddie Howe, it is worth noting that the player's performance this season has not matched his previous standards. According to journalist Ben Jacobs, Almiron declined the opportunity to join Al-Shabaab, despite reaching a verbal agreement between the two clubs. The winger's decision was based on the realization that a lucrative contract alone would not be enough to entice him. Al-Shabaab, having held talks with Newcastle for 7 days, was left with little time to pursue alternative targets and ultimately had to abandon their pursuit of Almiron. Newcastle is reportedly expecting interest in Almiron from various clubs during the summer transfer window. Although a verbal agreement was previously reached with Al-Shabaab for a transfer fee of around £26 million, it remains unclear whether a move to Saudi Arabia appeals to the 30-year-old player at this stage of his career. Other countries are also expected to show interest in Almiron, as Newcastle's discussions earlier in 2024 indicated that the player could be made available for transfer with the approval of the Public Investment Fund. Speaking to Give Me Sport, Jacobs said, "They will entertain the sale of Miguel Almiron. I mentioned in January that Al-Shabaab had a verbal agreement with Newcastle for around €30 million. As is sometimes the slightly atypical Saudi approach, they went to the club first. You would expect that because, even though Al-Shabaab are not a PIF-controlled club, it was a lot easier for them to go to PIF first and thrash out the basics of an agreement. They then went to the player's side and Almiron didn't want to move at that point. Had he done so, Newcastle would have wrapped that one up in January. I would expect more interest in Miguel Almiron from Saudi Arabia and other countries as well because it's still not clear whether the player would move to Saudi Arabia. But if the right offer comes in for Miguel Almiron, Newcastle will sell him." Then, Newcastle United midfielder Sean Longstaff is reportedly attracting interest from Leeds United, who are considering a potential summer move for the player. Sources indicate that Leeds is closely monitoring Longstaff's situation. recognizing that he is entering the final 12 months of his contract with Newcastle. Leeds United, under the leadership of manager Daniel Farke, currently holds the top spot in the Championship and is determined to secure an immediate return to the Premier League. With this ambition in mind, they are keeping a close eye on Longstaff's contract status, aware that they could potentially acquire him on a free transfer if he doesn't sign a new deal. Recent reports suggest that Longstaff has been playing through a persistent ankle injury and has required injections to manage the issue. This could explain his form struggles during the current season, with some observers noting that he appears sluggish, indecisive, and lacking the same level of quality he displayed in previous campaigns. Given Longstaff's contract situation and underwhelming performances, Newcastle United now faces a significant dilemma regarding his future. The club must weigh the pros and cons of either cashing in on him during the upcoming transfer window or offering him a new contract. The reported interest from Leeds United adds further complexity to the situation, as it raises the possibility of losing the player for free if a new deal isn't reached. The decision Newcastle United makes regarding Longstaff's future will likely depend on various factors, including his injury recovery, his form in the remaining matches of the season, and the club's long-term plans for their squad. As the summer approaches, Newcastle will need to carefully evaluate their options and determine the best course of action regarding the talented midfielder. More so, according to Football Insider, Newcastle United is contemplating selling Bruno Guimaraes in order to generate funds for a summer spending spree. This decision has attracted interest from several Premier League and overseas clubs, leading to speculation about his future as the transfer window approaches. Despite being a key player for Newcastle, having made 40 appearances this season and being one of the first names on the team sheet, Guimaraes' £100 million release clause has made him a potential outgoing transfer target. His performances have caught the attention of top clubs such as Manchester City, Manchester United, Liverpool, Chelsea, Real Madrid, and Barcelona. Recent reports indicate that Real Madrid and Paris Saint-Germain have sent scouts to watch Guimaraes in action, particularly during Newcastle's FA Cup match against Manchester City, with PSG also checking Alexander Isak. The Brazilian midfielder has reportedly become increasingly frustrated during what has been a disappointing campaign for his current club. Sources have revealed that Guimaraes could be swayed by the opportunity to join a club that matches his ambition if Newcastle fails to secure European qualification. Among the interested parties, PSG, the reigning champions of League One, have emerged as the favourites to secure his signature. Then, during a live interview on TalkSport, Steve Bruce has made controversial claims about former Newcastle United owner Mike Ashley, which some consider to be absurd. Bruce defended Ashley's approach to spending and described the club as a greatly run club under his ownership, despite the criticism surrounding financial fair play, FFP, and profit and sustainability rules, PSR. Bruce asserted that Newcastle would never be in financial distress under Ashley and praised the club's financial management during his tenure. However, he acknowledged that the club had limited funds for player transfers and could only spend what it generated, which he believed was insufficient for achieving success. Critics argue that Bruce's statements misrepresent the reality of Newcastle's situation under Ashley's ownership. They contend that Ashley used the club primarily as a platform for sports direct advertising and to maximize TV revenue. During Ashley's tenure, Newcastle went from being regular participants in European competitions and competitive on and off the pitch to suffering 2 relegations. Additionally, the club refused to pay a £1 million loan fee for Hamza Choudhury, and its training ground was reportedly in disrepair, with players using wheelie bins as makeshift ice baths. Detractors claim that Newcastle faced financial constraints due to Ashley's negligence, as he prioritized personal benefits over the well-being of the club. They point out the lack of sponsorships and revenue streams that could have bolstered the club's finances. Bruce's comments have sparked controversy and drawn criticism from those who believe they distort the true nature of Newcastle United's financial struggles under Ashley's ownership. The debate surrounding Ashley's tenure and its impact on the club's fortunes continues to be a contentious topic among supporters and observers of Newcastle United. Then, Trevon Sanusi and Leo Shahar have been called up to the England under-17 squad for their upcoming fixtures against Northern Ireland, Hungary, and France. Yankuba Minteh has also been awarded the Goal of the Month award for this stunner.
I think I was crossing the ball because I saw the goalkeeper also was trying to come out, and where he positioned himself is kind of far from the goal, and then I tried to chip it in the last post. Yeah.
Then Newcastle United scout Mick Tate was present at the Stadium of Light over the weekend, closely observing the performance of 16-year-old talent Chris Rigg. The young player has yet to finalize a professional contract with Sunderland, making him available for a nominal compensation fee due to his age. If Rigg decides against signing a professional deal, he will have the freedom to join any club of his choosing. Hailing from Hebburn, Rigg comes from a family of devoted Newcastle United supporters, which naturally adds to the appeal of a potential move to St James's Park. However, it appears that other Premier League heavyweights, Manchester City and Liverpool, have also expressed interest in acquiring the promising teenager. The presence of Newcastle scout Mick Tate at the Stadium of Light suggests that the club is actively monitoring Rigg's progress and considering him as a potential addition to their youth ranks. Given his young age and the freedom to choose his destination, Rigg's future remains uncertain, with multiple clubs vying for his signature. Newcastle United's interest in Rigg underscores their commitment to strengthening their youth development program and identifying promising talents at an early stage. As the competition to secure the youngster's services intensifies, it will be intriguing to see which club ultimately succeeds in capturing his potential and nurturing his talent for the future. Then finally, Newcastle United has announced an exciting new multi-year commercial partnership, marking a significant development for the club. The partnership is with Quid, a digital collectible and NFT marketplace subsidiary of Animoca Brands. According to a club statement, the collaboration with Quid will enable Newcastle United supporters worldwide to build and trade collections of officially licensed digital trading cards, digital video moments, and digital memorabilia on the Quid platform. Additionally, the partnership will unlock a range of exclusive experiences for fans. As part of the agreement, limited edition Newcastle United digital trading cards will be released on March 28th at 2 p.m. GMT on the Quid marketplace. This partnership is the latest in a series of commercial deals that Newcastle United has pursued as it seeks to boost its commercial revenue and address the challenges posed by the Premier League's profitability and sustainability rules. Peter Silverstone, Newcastle's chief commercial officer, expressed his enthusiasm for the partnership, highlighting Quid as the ideal partner for the club's first officially licensed digital collection. He emphasized the importance of establishing strong connections with supporters globally and across different platforms, considering the expansion of Newcastle United's fan base. Quid's chief executive, Michael Bramlage, also expressed excitement about the collaboration, stating that they are thrilled to partner with Newcastle United in the realm of sports collectibles. Bramlage acknowledged the deep-rooted tradition of collecting football stickers and cards within football culture and highlighted their commitment to leveraging technology to transform the collecting experience. He emphasized the unique capabilities of digital collectibles as a modern and enjoyable way to engage with the hobby. Newcastle United has been actively pursuing commercial partnerships in recent times, with over £65 million worth of agreements secured in the past year. This includes a £25 million per season sponsorship deal with Sailor and an incoming 5-year kit manufacturing deal with Adidas worth approximately £40 million per season. The agreement with Adidas will mark their return as Newcastle's kit manufacturer after a hiatus since the 2009-10 season. The partnership with Quid represents a significant step for Newcastle United in expanding its commercial ventures, enhancing fan engagement, and embracing the digital landscape of collectibles. Fans are eagerly anticipating the release of the limited edition digital trading cards and the exclusive experiences that will be offered as part of this exciting collaboration. Then, if you want to watch the unbelievable rise of Nick Pope, click the video link on screen now.
That was easy.